Today I'm going to show you the top 5 best openings for black. So first I'm going to show you the England gambit. So basically this counters the queen's pawn forward. We move our king pawn forward. So for the whites right now, the best option is to accept the gambit. So they're going to take it. And then now we can set our bishop out to develop our bishop right over here. And then for whites, they could defend their pawn over there, so they put jump the knight out to defend, can take control of the center. And now we could put our pawns forward, so if they take it, we could take it with the bishop. That would be pretty good for us. So now they could trade off their pawn because they cannot go forward. And then for example, if they take it now, we move our knight to e7, and then to let the pawn be like take more damage, and then this is like a gambit. So basically, so in most cases, like white actually takes this knight. After they take the knight, we could move the bishop and then take this part, and then which checks the king. So the king has to move like forward, and then after that we could take the queen for free. So we took the queen for free over here. Okay, now they have a queen disadvantage, and then we can take the bishop and the pawns, and then we can take the rook. And then however, there is some problems with this. So basically, if we go back over here, that's too much. Okay, there you go. So for example, some cases, if when they cuss it, so sometimes when after he captures, we jump our knights over here. So that is the best thing, that this is the thing that you do. And then you could also play some different ways. For example, you could put your bishop out. For example, you could pin the knight over here, and then if the pawn takes on c7, we could take it. If they capture this pawn over here, and then now we can the same tactic. We move our bishop to this bishop to take the king, to check the king. The king can only have one option. They take it, and then now we can capture the queen for free also. So there's like many different ways, and then to do it, and then we can get the good decision. So okay, the fourth best opening. And then this is the most common one. So for example, if the king if your opponent plays the king forward, the black does the same. The knight jumps out to defend, to take their pawn. You do the same. We do the same. So if we like do a little bit different over here, we got this over here, and then now they jump their knight to try to attack our pawn, and then we defend it using the knight. And then now they move the bishop up free, and then now we jump the knight. Okay, and then for white, if they go like right over here, trying to move the knight to this spot, and then they could do like a double fork. And then this is called the Traxxas counterattack, and it has 57% win rate. Now we basically move the bishop to this spot, and then after knight takes f7, we could then therefore does the same thing to their side also. So And then this position is very tricky. So for example, if they take it, and then they could fork our queen and the rook. And then you shut down with like a counterball. So basically, you check it over here. So the king has. Now for the normal move, for the best move is to move the king to here. They could also like grab the bishop over here, and then you can therefore jump the knight to the spot and then check the kings again over here. So now you have another counter attack. So like to like stop the knight from trading your queen and your rook. So now the king only have these two squares, and then back to go. So normally they will go like backwards, and then now you can move your queen out. Now you can move your queen out to do a counter attack. So like if you move your queen here, then you move over here, it's basically checkmate. So it could be like checkmate in one. So, and then also this file is open. So afterwards you can put your rook here, and then you can have a straight diagonal line. So if they put like this forward to force your queen back, you could take it with you can move your queen back to this spot. Sorry. So you can move your queen to this spot, and it checks the king. For example, the king can go like over here, and then you could do like a check, and then they jump the king out, and then you could do a surprisingly attack by forcing the bishop away. And then now you open up the bishop. So like you open up this bishops, and then so it checks the king, and they have to move their king away. So for example, if they block it, you could do you could do h5, and then it opens try to open up this diagonal. So after bishop takes this one, and then you could play pawn takes g4, and then it checkmates the king. But you could also play differently, but this is how basically how you counters this attack. And then it's really useful because the white king can basically like do nothing, since a highly strong one. So for number 3, it is a solid one. So basically this also counters the queen's pawn. So for example, if they move the queen's pawn, this is another gambit. So if they capture it, you can move your pawn to d6. And then also you could, if you remember, we talked about the first one, you could jump your bishop out, and then it's going to be a really good one. So for example, if we go over here, normally they will like trade it, and then we can go like a quick development. So we could jump the knight out, and then we could develop our pieces, the queen, and everything else. So for example, if they develop the knight over here, like in this side, we do want the castle queen side, because like queen side is more defenses, and then we have like 3 things blocking it, so we have to move them away. So therefore we have to jump the knight to this square, and then we could put our bishop to g4, and then that put pressure on their side, and we can move the queen out to check the king. So we jump it out, they jump another knight, we move it, pin the knight, and then it pins the queen. So normally they put this to put some protection on the king, and then For example, now we're going to jump our knight out. No, we're not going to jump our knight. Sorry. So now we put our queen out over here because to defend this attack. And then now, for example, they're going to put the bishop out to defend the king, defend the knight. Now we can castle the queen side over now. And if we move our bishop away, the queen's going to be under attack. And then now you have this kind of, this is called Char-Click Gambit. It has a 60% win rate. And then your bishop is totally free. Your bishop has a nice open file everywhere. And then you're like basically more developed. They could also like jump your knight over there. You could also like jump your knight and then pawns, rooks. And then also like everything is free. And if you move the for example, for now, for example, the whites did like a castle also, and then now we can trade over the knight, and then we can put the bishop over here. So their queen's on attack, their king's on attack. So now they have to take it, and then now we can just take their queen for free over there, and then their queen is gone. Even if they don't blunder the queen that way, you still should like get a great force on their side. Okay, now I'm going to show you the best opening number 2. So now is the old thing. They put the king's pawn forward. We jump also our king's pawn. They jump their knights to try to attack our pawn over here. We defend it using the knight. Okay, now they jump the bishop out. Okay, so now what we do is we put this pawn over here, so like try to trade off the take control of the center. Like in most cases, your opponent will see this trap and they will try to like take this. And then this thing is called the Rosa Gambit. It has 61% win rate. It is like pretty much a lot. And then this is like pretty so if you go over here, it forces the knight away and you take control of the knight center or right over here already. And then you can take position advantage of this position. So as you see, this knight is being attacked, and then they have to jump their knights away. Normally they would do like some silly moves. Sometimes they could like take the knight over here, so you can like castle on this side. And then as you see, this bishop over here on g4 is the really pieces that they develop. So if they take it, we take it with a rook. Yeah, but this knight is still going to be under attack. So for example, if they jump the knight back, you can see that the whole row is completely not developed, and you have a nice develop here over here. And then you have a perfect develop. And then sometimes they could play the queen to here check, and you should like your best option is trying to let them like check. So now, for example, if you put pawn to d5, and then they're going to like check it, it's another winning step, because like normally they would think if you do that they can take it. If you take it, and then you cannot take it back because the rook is there. So that is the thing. And then okay, so now our king is under attack. So we go pawn g6, and then turns out that our rook is defending it, and then we have a fork, so our rook can go all the way to the where the horse is and take that free pawn over here. So for example, if they take it, we can just take it with the rook, and then they cannot take the rook, so they're going to take that free pawn over there, and then they can start attack our rook and then get our king check. So now we put queen over here. So we have a whole pressure over here. So after that, this move, we could put the queen over here. We could take the rook. We could take the knight. We could check the king. We could take this one. We could take this one, and we basically like destroy their whole army. And then, so the knights attack. Normally they will like push over here to like stop this attack. And then now it turns out that the white queen is being trapped. And then if we go over here, there is no way. So now they could go like to capture this pawn over here. Now we could move our bishop to this pawn, and then after we moved it, we can see that the queen is completely trapped. And then the queen has no way to go. And then it turns out that we just wins the queen because they cannot go here, 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 they cannot go here. So now we just basically win a free queen over here, as we see. So this is a very good opening. And then now we're going to show you the last opening. This is a really good opening, which basically it's called the Pausanic Sanitic Gambit, and it has a 68% win rate. So this is the highest win rate. So basically, it's also they put the king's pawn, you put your king pawn, and then they try to take your pawns, you defend it with the knight, and then they jump with the bishop over here, and then you jump the knight also, trying to attack this pawn over here. Okay, now they jump the knight over here to trying to get a fork onto the queen and the rook over here, as we see. Okay, so now we're playing the 68% win rate. So basically, we instead of trying to defend this pawn, we jump our knight forward. So now we just give up the knight. So this is like a super tricky opening. So our knight is for free right here. Normally they are trying to get the fork over here. They could also take the free knights, but both is all tricky. So if they take the knight, they give up like countering this fork, but normally they would do this. So for example, if the knight takes this one, attacks our queen and the rook. So now we just win the game right over. So we play the queen to this spot. We play the queen over here, and then basically we can take this, and then that's basically a GG's. So they could also move the queen to here to defend this, and then strangely, it is not really easy for white to defend this. They could we could also put our bishop later into attack. So we could put this bishop into attack. We could also do this. And then we could also jump the knight out to this and then attacks this pawn. So normally they would do this is to force our queen away. Now we sacrifice the horse. They will not take this because I sent the rook for free. They will send this for free. They will send take this, and then we can take the bishop for free over there. As you see, we have a free bishop hanging right over at this spot. Normally they will just grab a rook thinking that they have like a material up, and then just exchange for rook for rook. Instead, we place our queen to this spot. This forces their bishop to go back. So basically they cannot go to this spot because our knight is over there. Okay, now they give up the rook on the corner, and that is check. But they could also they could push the only option is to put the bishop back, and then we can do a checkmate over here. but sometimes they could do something else, but that's basically it. So if you enjoy this video and you think this is useful, please leave a comment below and then give a like and subscribe to the video. Also, write in the comments that which one you think is the best Gambit to play as black, and then what else do you want to see as